What is real?
So guys, today's topic would be on mental metrics, okay? So I'm speaking in English today so that every one of my viewers, my sister, my brother and everybody could understand it. मैं हिंदी में भी बात कर सकता था, पर हिंदी में मेरे बहुत लोग ये वीडियो बनाने शुरू कर लिए और बहुत सी चैनलों में बहुत सी ऑथेंटिक बातें अगर आप सर्च करें or if you Google and if you know how to search in your search engine, then you will find authentic content. But defaultly, Google, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, everyone has a monetary system. They don't allow people like us who speaking the truth and giving people information about what's going on and what's really happening all around the world. So I'll make it really short and simple as I can get, as a normal guy, a 25-year-old guy living in, struggling, living, surviving in his own experience of life or place, a country, what do you want to call. So let me put this in sometime Hindi and sometime English so that both of my viewers can understand what I'm going through or what I'm pointing at. It's not just Americans or Indians or Nepali or Russians or Bhutanese or Bangladesh or Pakistan they need to know. You all need to know. But because I was grown up in multi-diverse culture and I know like 3 or 4 languages and I have to convert every wording and every pronunciation and every way thinking pattern to other language, so that's the barrier. So it took me a lot of time and a lot of courage to speak like this. So let's get started. So metrics. This is a word taken from the movie The Matrix, which was, as you know, there's a guy who has a strange dream, strange experience, and suddenly his life transforms. He gets a blue pill and a red pill. There's the incident, accident, the fight, the illusion, the way he sees reality, the reality was not, and there was a robot was taking over and it was just a dream, and when he woke up and he saw, okay, this was the reality, then it was not what he was expecting, and people were living in a false reality, a false dream state. So if I had to put this in really simple condition, I would have get the essence from the matrix, or the word we have in Devanagari Maya, illusion. Or let's just say, the way you see it isn't what it really is, or what it is or what the reality is different from what we perceive. That's called the matrix. And what do we mean by the mental matrix or psychological matrix? So if I had to say, I was taught to speak in English and apple. When I want to eat apple, the first thing in my mind would pop out is apple, the word apple, and it'll link up to a picture that's apple or taste or apple juice or related to another. But there was a community which has never ever used apple. Let's just say in Nepali we call it xiao. So if an American would go and ask Nepali guy have eat apple, but if a Nepali guy has never ever known what apple is, so he doesn't know, but yet he has eaten apple, but he has his name different, like Xiao. If I tell the American guy Xiao is apple and the Nepalese guy apple is Xiao, then both of them will go together. But if American guy explains the Nepali guy apple taste is this, its size is this, its color is this, and give it a proximity or a structure or reference to that guy or taste reference to that guy, the guy will have a hallucinatory, imaginary reference point for that apple. He will not know what the apple is. And if he explains the imaginary perspective of the apple to other people and then say, oh, apple should be like this, apple should be like that, he said this should be exactly like this shape and that shape, and that's why we know apple. And 1-2 generation go by, and they were eating shell apple at a daily basis, but they had the imagination of an apple was different fruit that wasn't in Nepal, or it wasn't there. So it become indoctrination. It becomes a projection in your mind that it should be this, but in reality you are eating it. You know what apple is. It just, there was another name. It's called labeling. That's what labeling is. So today, the way we are taught, the way we are raised up, the way religion work, the way the financial system work, and the way the TV or television work is, these are the basics where information get exchanged. Money or banking system is the basis of employment, of let's just say a daily lifestyle of people. But if I had to tell, no, the natural way was different. It was the way of the society of the 90s or 60s, after we got the revolution, after the whole world shifted in the industrialized revolution, or internet, or digitalized revolution, or banking revolution, banking system. They adopted the banking system, and they adopted the Rockefeller's education system, and then the lifestyle has been created. But nobody's gonna believe me that, because they are taught in school, they are taught in universities, they are taught in the TV channels and programming channels, especially, that this was the way of the past. But if I tell you, and if I ask 3 generations before me, and how things were, how things used to grow, how society used to function, and is it the ethical way or the natural harmonic way, then they will have trouble, because the way of thinking patterns, the way you think, create your reality. You see what's inside you, what you are taught. If I have made a lot of videos on gravity, on science, on politics. I even made one video on Zeus, how they established the banking system, but it was taken off from the YouTube community. So they don't want the reality to come out. They want a pseudo projection of history, of education, of lifestyle, of the clothes we're wearing. They want us to project and to believe the history, religion, banking, economic was the same as they want us to read in the books. Books is not the only research of knowledge. Internet or TV is not 100% truth. It's called programming. You are being programmed to think in a certain pattern, to be in a box, to see reality in a certain way. If you take TV channels or newspapers as an option, as an vehicle, as an informative way, or information, just for information, that's okay. But if you think and if you believe everything they're telling you, everything they're telling you is good, Big Bang Theory, theory of evolution, the Higgs boson and everything, if it's only in theory, you're just gonna project. That's the mental matrix. I had a video posted on different topics so that I can explain it's much better. If you are not being told that red is red and blue is blue, you will never know red is called red and blue is called blue, because we are told to use certain word, certain patterns, certain pronunciation, certain rhythm to speak and converse information, your knowledge or your sensation perception, the way you sense the object and the world around you, and to translate it in forms of language. But today people start believing. They don't know, they believe. When you believe something without evidences and you just make it a fact in your reality, whether it is a fact or evidentical or natural, it becomes your reality, whether ghosts exist or not. But if you believe ghosts exist, At night, everything can be a ghost. You don't know. Even if you see a leaf falling apart, that might be a ghost from the sun's, the moonlight reflection. The water might scare you, but is that the real case? No. When you turn on the light, there's nothing there. It's just like illusion. So what I want to say is Matrix is just like an illusion. Not in the movie, not like in the movie we're stuck inside something, but the way we perceive changes. We start seeing the authentic perspective, not the governmental or pseudo perspective given by organizations such as WHO, United Nations, not involved in any Catholic or any churches or temples, or you are not backed up by any system behind you. You see the world as it is. That's called breaking the matrix. And it's nothing miracle. It's not something that you can call Buddhahood or miracle or, oh, I got realized. No, it's not something like that. It was like you've been told that 1 + 1 is equals to 5, and you believed it. And you were just dreaming, you were just doing your own work, and you realize, wait, 1 + 1 is equals to 2, 2 + 2 is equals to 4. How can it be 5? Oh, no, wait, it's wrong. And you start questioning, and you start finding the real authentic answer that you can see, hear, and analyze. That's when you start seeing the reality. That's called breaking the matrix. And what matrix is to believe in the system that you are being told, whether it's politics, whether it's pharmaceuticals, whether it's religious, whether it's spiritual, or it's your own family mindset. It doesn't count. All of them are mindset. Whenever you go beyond a fixed mindset and start seeing reality as it is, as it's supposed to be, without any hindrance from any external psychological, ideological, physiological insight, then that's the truth. Then that's your truth. That's your vision. That's your reality. Right now, as I speak, there are 90% people to 95% people on pseudo-reality. They believe on something and they're working on something. If you stop them and then ask them for just 20 to 15 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes about what are you doing, how you doing, and what is the main goal, or how are you oriented, 90% will be like robots. They are pre-programmed to do something. They don't know their body. They don't know their mindset. They don't know their drinking patterns. They don't know their speaking patterns. They don't know why they're doing it, why they're being alive, why they're compelled to work, why does the money make? Is it a necessity? They have never ever asked this question. All they have done is being on a pseudo dream and doing and going and all. They aren't asleep. They aren't dreaming at all. They are in a pseudo reality. Let's just say, if I had to give a word, they have projected the reality on their own accord and how they want to see the world for their own eyes, not how the world was. And I'm compiling some of the videos so that you could comprehend what I was speaking about. Just by speaking, I can't change the reality. Reality is, always was, and will be as it is. Nobody can change it. But because we are influenced by music, we are influenced by our family raising pattern, we are influenced by our religious mindset, projection, we are influenced by what we watch on TV, music, movie, anime, the god or goddesses you worship, or the religious setup being that you used to do in your life gives you a projection of a reality. So everyone would have their own opinion, from a Buddhist, from a Hindu, from a Jain to a Jew or any other. But if you go beyond the pattern, beyond the ideology, beyond the fixed mindset, and you see reality as it is, then it is curse and a boon together. Because now you see the things are not what you're being told. The education is not what you're being told. The pharmaceutical drugs do not help you as they have been told. The health exercises aren't made for you to immune. The vaccination, the truth behind the organization, the truth behind democracy, the truth behind the countries and how countries are being controlled by the back power. People, when they speak, how falsely they have speak and how robotic they are speaking, how they are fundamentally just stuck in a mental box inside their head. It's not there's something outside they're bending it. It's just they have been programmed to be in a certain way, to have certain personality, to have certain, accept certain attributes on themselves, to only work in certain way, to only earn money, to only live life, not to explore, not to dance, not to write poetry, not to understand poetry, and nothing else. All 90% of the world is fixed busy on food and sex and pleasure and fame. These are the only 4 things they're all busy on. Yes, some of the people might not be enough with food, clothes, and house. They're building it. They're trying to achieve it. All these 3 basic necessities. But when we got it, when the countries are the first world countries, they are expanding. They're not using their resources, and the people in the government are not truth. All around the world, not just one. All around the world. It's the same system. It works. It's just the people, they change. It's just the language, that's the barrier. It's the culture, that's the mindset. And it's the place, that's the prison. And the mind, that's the matrix. Your mindset is your matrix. Your mindset is your psychology. Your body can be healed in many other ways rather than pharmaceutical drugs, just by using marijuana, different herbal products such as mushrooms. There are some powders, naturopathy, herbopathy, Ayurveda. There are lots of ways, but you have been programmed to go to doctor and buy your life insurance. That's what your heart feels, because you are programmed to believe the government, because you watch the TV channels too much, because you use the social media too much. You want to blend in with the trend. You want to go viral. You want to be, someone famous, to get along, to be known. That's the mindset. Get along with it. Know your true nature. When you know your gunas, mean attributes, your personality, your good and bad things about you, the good thing about your body or bad thing about your body, your mentality, how much your limit is, then you're breaking the psychological barrier. You're breaking the matrix. You are not living in a mental matrix or psychological matrix. That's all I have to say on this topic, the matrix or mental matrix. But I will add some clips with you watch it, and these are not just for laughing or not just for plopping off, but some of them are really important. They might change the way you think and way you look the universe or the reality. Think again of what you see, what you hear, what you speak, and who you met. If I had to say in Hindi, जो दिखता है वो कभी होता नहीं, जो होता है वो कभी दिखता नहीं. Pranam.
Takeda first-generation imagery is captured by the KH-11, some of it three-dimensional, and not the deliberately fussed and old photographs that were invariably distributed by the American intelligence community to the bureaucracy, and to overseas allies in an effort to shield the superb resolution of the KH-11's optics. Note, the KH-11 was at the time known to be the most significant advance in outer space reconnaissance. The key element of the 64-foot-long satellite was a downward-looking mirror in front of the camera, that rotated from side to side, like a periscope, enabling the satellite to track a single location as it moved across the atmosphere. The result was a stereoscopic image of unusually high quality that could be even further enhanced by computer. It was a significant triumph for the Israeli government, which had been seeking access to the KH-11 since the moment of launch 3 years before. Jimmy Carter's decision to provide that high-tech imagery was suspected by some American intelligence officials as being a reward for Prime Minister Menachem Begin's successful Camp David summit with Egyptian President Anwar Sadat the year before. These officials understood what many in the White House did not. Adding an Israeli dimension to the system was a major commitment, and one that would interfere with the KH-11's ability to collect the intelligence its managers wanted. The KH-11 was the most important advance of its time, explained a former official of the National Security Agency, NSA, the unit responsible for all communications intelligence, and every military and civilian intelligence agency in the government seemed to have an urgent requirement for it. The goal of the KH-11's managers was to carefully plan and prioritize the satellite's schedule to get it to the right place at the right time, while avoiding any abrupt shifts in its flight path or any sudden maneuver that would burn excess fuel. With good management, the multi-million-dollar satellite, with its limited fuel supply, would be able to stay longer in orbit, provide more intelligence, and be more cost-efficient. Carter's decision to give Israel direct access to the KH-11 completely disrupted the careful scheduling for the satellite's future use. It also meant that some American intelligence agencies were going to have less access to the satellite. It was an unpopular decision in many ways, said the former NSA official. There were no official protests inside the administration. However, those few who were distressed by the KH-11 agreement understood that any disquiet, or even second-guessing, could jeopardize their own access to such information, and thus reduce their status as insiders. The Israelis, not surprisingly, viewed the KH-11 agreement as a reaffirmation of respect and support from the Carter administration, whose Director of Central Intelligence, retired Admiral Stansfield Turner, had abruptly cut back intelligence liaison with Israel and other friendly nations as part of a restructuring of the Central Intelligence Agency. The Israelis, accustomed to far warmer treatment by Presidents Richard M. Nixon and Gerald R. Ford, saw the men running the Carter administration as naive and anti-Semitic, as men who perhaps did not fully understand how entwined Israel's primary foreign intelligence service, Mossad, had become with the CIA during the Cold War.
Say in a private meeting with Woodrow Wilson, president between 1913 and 1921, from the private papers of Woodrow Wilson, quote, "Very soon, every American will be required to register their biological property in a national system designed to keep track of the people and that will operate under the ancient system of pledging. By such methodology, we can compel people to submit to our agenda, which will affect our security as chargeback for our fiat paper currency. Every American will be forced to register or suffer not being able to work and earn a living. They will be our chattel, and we will hold the security interest over them forever by operation of law merchant under the scheme of secured transactions. Americans, by unknowingly or unwittingly delivered the bills of lading to us, will be rendered bankrupt and insolvent, forever to remain economic slaves through taxation secured by their pledges. They will be stripped of their rights and given commercial value, designated to keep us a profit that will be none the wiser. For not one man in a million could ever figure out our plans, and if by accident one or two would figure it out, we have in our arsenal plausible deniability. After all, this is the only logical way to fund government, by floating liens and debt to the registrants in the form of benefits and pledges. This will inevitably reap us huge profits beyond our wildest of expectations and leave every American. This will inevitably reap us huge profits beyond our wildest of expectations and leave every American a contributor to this fraud, which we will call social insurance. Without realizing it, every American will insure us for any loss we may incur, and in this manner, every American will unknowingly be our servant, however begrudgingly. The people will become helpless, without any hope for their redemption, and we will employ the high office of the President as our dummy corporation to foment this plot against America. Having established plausible deniability, even if people become enlightened that they had a remedy and pursued it, the attorneys, judges, and legislators could claim that they did not understand the people's claims, especially if the technical requirements for achieving it were not followed pursuant to statutory requirements, requiring the public schools to teach civics, government, and history classes out of federally approved, politically correct textbooks written by the publishing houses owned by the owners of the Federal Reserve would assure that the people would not discover the remedy for a long time, if ever. I would recommend that everyone read Fruit from a Poisonous Tree by Melvin Stamper, M-E-L-V-I-N, Stamper, S-T-A-M-P-E-R. That is Fruit from a Poisonous Tree. This is out of Chapter 2 of Fruit from a Poisonous Tree.
Paradox is real. The mind, body, duality, the split, the place where you have the blurring of the lines between what they'll call the dimension of consciousness and the material world. In fact, it's not just a blurring fuzziness of the lines. That's the exact point where physical and spiritual twist. Inside this construct, there are billions and billions and billions of neurons that are all acting with little synapses firing this way and that. It's translating. It's a receiver. Nobel Prize winner neurophysiologist Sir John Eccles stated, and I quote, "The human brain is a machine that a ghost can operate, so that you can have control of this entire being, passing down the spinal cord into the fingertips and every part of your biological body." What are we really? What is the soul? But this is more than just a computer sitting on top of a biological machine. It was Albert Einstein who said, and I quote, "In consideration of the cosmos, the order of the universe, which I, with my limited human mind, am able to perceive, yet there are those who say there is no God. What makes me really angry is when they quote me in support of such views." That was Albert Einstein. It's very rare that you would ever find any quote where Einstein would say he was angry about anything. Yet so often I hear men quote Einstein and say that there is no God in the same sentence. In fact, this is a lot larger in scope than that. Let me put this in perspective for you. Right now, while you're watching this video, we barely understand even the simplest functionings of the smallest parts of this place. We grapple with the DNA strands. This right here is a whole lot larger in scope than any of that, just within the neurosciences as well as the life sciences sitting right on top. Life sciences, neurosciences, and that human mind, consciousness, all me.
Do you know that the story of Jesus, how it's been altered in certain ways? I mean, yes, there was a guy, yes, there was teaching. The parallel between that and alchemical sex is that there's 33 vertebrae in your spine. There's 33 years in the life of Jesus Christ. Okay. There is a substance or liquid or a substance that comes from your medulla, which is basically completely looks like the Ark of the Covenant. Has angel's wings around it, the whole thing. So this substance comes from your medulla, makes the trip down your spine to your sacrum, which is Christ coming down. And if you don't squander that essence, that sexual essence, it ascends again and goes back up to heaven. Also, the story of Santa Claus. Why he comes down the chimney is because this juice passes what's called the claustrum.
We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present. Déjà vu.
Satanism is a religion for the elite. It is a religion for leaders. It's a religion for competent people. It's not a religion for anyone who wants to be a Satanist. We don't say, well,
the homeless, the handicapped, those
I don't care. I don't want the homeless, the handicapped.
The people in Mother Teresa's home for the dying and the destitute, they need not apply.
I don't want them. You've taken that on your shoulders. That's your job. You're doing a great job with the homeless. You help everyone. We're helping those who help themselves, as it says in your Bible. And you can take the weak.
No, it doesn't say that in the Bible.
You can take the decrepit. You can take people who can't help themselves. We don't want them. It's simple. It's very simple.
The homeless you don't want to shelter?
No, I don't want to shelter people who can't take care of themselves. Why can't they?
The hungry, the starving, you don't want to feed. Gina, go ahead, Gina. What were you saying?
That produces more of the same. There has to be some change. If you look at the animal kingdom, how is the animal kingdom able to survive? There is no such thing as homeless.
Back to social Darwinism again. In the animal kingdom, you preserve what is strong.
Hang on.
You give more food to the stronger animal.
Until humans
you don't feed the
and start
weaker
killing
one.
I'm trying to...
There's no welfare in the animal
Nicholas, I'm
world.
trying to remain as academically detached as I possibly
It's not an academically
But what you're
detached
saying
question.
is so absolutely disgustingly outrageous. Now,
And to me,
just wait a minute. Let me...
To me, it's disgustingly outrageous that you would help these weak people who are draining our resources, who are causing so many problems. We could be doing positive things in the world.
Zena, I want to ask
These weaklings are taking away all of our energy and resources. And you've decided to help them. That's disgusting to me.
You've never been to a refugee camp.
Why would I possibly want to go to a refugee camp?
Zena,
You have this masochistic love for weakness.
And what do you think that'll gain you?
Because
You wanna ask
women have more sensitive
women are
natures.
soft.
I just want to make sure it isn't this firm resolve of this man who's over
But you're going to get a soft reaction from me because I'm a woman, then you won't.
If you were in an Ethiopian famine camp,
What would I be doing there?
Isn't that the problem of the Ethiopian government to take care of their own people? Why should we be taking
no, I tell you
care
what it's
of
the
them?
problem of. It's the problem of a communist totalitarian ideology in the Mengistu government that put those people in a place. A philosophy, sir, a philosophy of dialectical materialism, a communist me-first philosophy that is not far from what you said. Just
okay, let's put it back on an academic.
Let's get back to the refugee camp.
This is an animation that only a highly intelligent person can understand. Each picture reveals the truest and most brutal truth about our society. It is said that anyone who can read more than 5 is a genius. First frame. A woman stood by the window, waiting for food. There's burgers popping out of the window. But the woman just wanted to eat with her mouth open but did nothing. All she could do was watch them slip away. Second frame. The girl is dating her boyfriend. She holds the burger demurely and acts suave until her boyfriend turns around. She immediately opened her mouth and swallowed the hamburger. By the time her boyfriend looked back, everything was back to normal. The third frame. 3 cooks were cutting small hamburgers from their big ones. When they're done, the big burger is back to normal. Cycling chefs like robot work continuously. The fourth frame. A group of little buddies holding hands, dancing around a giant burger. They all want their burgers first. But they don't want anyone else to eat first. So no one would let go and they just kept dancing. The fifth frame. 5 men were sitting around a hamburger. They ate the different parts of the burger in turn. According to this distribution, the fifth man will never get a burger.
Democracy is not working anymore. You think that we have democracy in America? Don't kid yourself. The business world, through the lobbying, are doing everything. We are just playing games. The world is becoming too complicated for democracy to work. Dictatorship does not work either. We need a new system.
So you go into a court. The whole idea of a court is like I said, basketball court is a game. This team stands up and throws the ball back in the other guy's court. And that team of lawyers throws the ball back in this guy's court. And the judges comes out, he's a referee because he's wearing a black robe. Black robes represent the planet Saturn, the lord of money and banking and law. Saturn was the god of banking and law. And his priest of Saturn always wore black robes. That's why the Catholic Church wears a black robe. That's why the rabbis wear black robes. When you graduate from high school, you wear a black robe. The whole idea of the Saturnian is called Saturn. The god Saturn was Lord of the Rings. So women were told to listen to their god, so they would wear an earring, because Saturn is the Lord of the ring. And men were to get married before their god, so they wear a wedding ring. You need to understand there is a world of occultism, manipulation, exploitation of the human race with words and terms and symbols that you don't even know is happening right in front of you. So you've got a court. The whole idea in a court is a game to put the ball back in the other guy's court. And the judge is going to rule from the bench. The word bench is a Latin word for a bank. So he's ruling for the bank. Why? Because somebody's going to have to pay their debt to society. Somebody's going to pay. When the day is over, somebody's going to lose and they're going to pay. And the judge doesn't care because he's getting paid anyway, so he doesn't care. He's a referee. That's why he wears a black robe. And when the judge walks out, everyone rises. Why? The same reason when a Catholic priest walks out, everyone rises. Because the Catholic Church operates under the same maritime admiralty law as a court in America. That's why in Catholic churches you always see 3 steps going to the altar. Those are the first 3 steps of the first degrees of Freemasonry, first, second, and third degree. Once you're on the third, you get in the 3rd degree. Now you're going before the judge. It's the 3 degrees of Masonry. So then now you bring in the occult world of Freemasonry, all the secret societies of the Knights Templars, the world bankers, the religious orders. All of this stuff is connected thousands of years ago that you don't know anything about. And once you start seeing how in court the judge rules from the bench, which a bench is a Latin word for a bank. And where do you find banks if they're on both sides of a river? They're called river banks. What does a river bank do if it doesn't direct the flow of the current? See? Because your money is called currency. Because it's the cash flow, the liquid assets, the juice. And either you got it or you don't. Money goes through your hands like water. No, money is water. Maritime admiralty.
Israelites, in fact, are Edomites and Canaanites who have been masquerading, who have been pretending to be Israel for the last 2 millennia. Prophecies from the Old Testament that state that the Edomites would one day covet the name of Israel and covet their land and take it over, namely the Ashkenazi Jews and the Sephardic Jews. The fact is, most Ashkenazim are descended from 3 genomes, from the Japhethites. Japheth was the brother of Shem. And the Mongols. and the Turks, who were part of the Hittite kingdom that migrated north, who were absorbed by the Turkish Empire in early times.
Where are these people?
You know, as nutty as the world's become, you get the luxury to sit back and watch one of the most amazing reality shows ever made. Yeah, it's called The New Normal.
Here's a woman assaulting us in an off-trail.
Get that phone away.
Get it away from me.
Shove it up your ass.
No mask. No mask.
Well, don't worry. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm a security officer.
You need 3 masks. You only got 2.
Yeah. You don't know the rules. I've got 2 masks. Oh, yeah.
We need 3.
Stay home, then. Don't come out here.
It's amazing. And every day, in every city, there's a new episode with a new challenge. For example, in today's episode of New Normal, Los Angeles, we have the Don't Scream on a Roller Coaster, or you'll be thrown out of the park and accused of killing people's grandparents challenge.
Try not to scream because it's not allowed on thrill rides at Disneyland, Knott's, and all other California theme parks. That's right, you'll have to ride roller coasters in silence, they say. It's part of the proposed new COVID safety guidelines. Screaming and shouting in public increases the risk for the virus to spread. The plan is being backed by the California Attractions and Parks Association.
Yeah, these are part of the let's see how many stupid people will do anything we tell them challenge. I can't wait for the stop breathing when you walk past someone challenge. I read a spoiler somewhere that said that was coming in a future episode. My favorite episode's the one where the producers made band kids at school play their instruments inside a beekeeper tents. Look at this.
At Wenatchee High School, kids faced the music from inside a small tent. The principal says the district collaborated with local health officials who say the tents can help the band play on.
If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, I'm looking at a photo of a kid with a tuba stuffed inside of a tiny stand-up tent with his neck contorted like he was in a car crash, just trying to stay alive until the end of the class. I mean, this is what someone would look like if you walked up to a car flipped upside down, bent down, and looked through the driver's side window. No one sees a problem with this. Everyone just blindly submits to authority. Do you realize you could stand in front of any business with a lint roller in hand, pretend you work there, and make everyone who approaches you raise their arms, and they'll let you scan them with the lint roller? Don't believe me? This guy already tried it. Yeah, here's a video of a guy. Look at him. Just waving the lint roller around on these people. Just waving them in. Guy doesn't even work there. Nobody asks questions that just... I mean, how do you live like that? No one will question anything. And you're telling me there aren't people in positions of power who take advantage of that?
Come on, man.
How many Freemasons know that the earth is flat? Written by Albert Pike. This book I was given after becoming a 32nd degree Mason, Freemason. So let's just see what is written in Morals and Dogma in the first chapter as it relates to the square. It says, the square is a right angle formed by 2 right lines. It is adapted only to a plane surface and belongs only to geometry, earth measurement, and trigonometry, which deals only with planes and with the earth, which the ancients supposed to be a plane. The square is for plane measurement, okay?
Astronomy is one of the many tools of the devil.
The Butterfly Program, Mind Control, Transhumanism, Nazi Scientists and Cyborgs.
German-speaking American operatives at the Nuremberg trials. So they were instrumental in bringing over probably hundreds of Nazi scientists who'd done experimentation on concentration camp victims for about 20 years, including the mind control experiments and the first experiments in transhumanism and creating what they called cyborgs. And so when I was 6 years old, my father took me to the park to meet a associate of his, and basically he drugged me with a bottle of Coca-Cola, and basically the associate of my father then raped me in front of him, and made me watch him take the money, and so that was my indoctrination into the MK Ultra program, and it went on from there. Various annexes, different places that everywhere we lived, we moved often because the schools would pick up on something very wrong in our family, and then we would move to a new place, and it would all start again, so it was described to me as the secret butterfly program. So we were given little pins that looked like birds, but told that they were actually butterflies. And there you go with the programming, because the initiation into every programming session, they would tie me to a wheel, would spin the wheel faster and faster and faster while people around it chanted, "There is no good, there is no bad, there is no light, there is no dark, there is no day, there is no night." And it would go on and on and on. There is no black, there is no white. There is only, when you're just spitting and ready to throw up, they say there's only green. And green is the obliteration, the destruction of all consciousness and of all humanity. And at that point, you're supposed to be no longer human.
My generation going downhill is wiping out. Meanwhile,
the dance flow silly.
Our calendar is not quite right. We're supposed to have 13 months of 28 days, with one day, the day of resurrection, Easter, as a neutral day. That's our 365 days. We've actually got 13 constellations, not 12. This same calendar is very close to the Mayan calendar, but it's also very close to several ancient Sanskrit calendars. What does sept mean? 7. I thought that was the 9th month. What does oct mean? What does nov mean? What does dec mean? It's supposed to be the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th month. Jan is 11. Feb is 12. March is 13. April is our first month. Babies are born in the spring, the 1st of April, Easter. This is the start of our new year. This is the start of spring, when the flowers start coming up, the grass starts coming up, the trees start leafing out, the babies are born. That's the first day. Our neutral day, day 1, the day we rest and celebrate the resurrection, the new beginning, the beginning of Christ. April is month 1. And then we lost a month in there. Where is it? What's it called? We know what it's called. I'm not going to reveal it yet, but we know what it's called. But this is the true calendar. The Gregorian calendar is SMU, shit made up by man. To keep us out of our natural cycles. We all vibrate at one of 3 frequencies. Did you know that? Okay. 432 hertz is the God frequency. That's the celestial frequency. And we have a telestial and a terrestrial frequency. Darn right. She says that why when people are true, we can feel it and we can sense it. We know that it's right. You know, we don't even have to research it. We know, we can feel it. We feel it in our bodies and our spirits and our souls, and we know it's right.
By the way, 528 hertz is the love vibration, or the
The Dinosphere. I believe this was steam powered, not electric. Understand that some of these were running freely, no wires, while charging, meaning that it's more advanced than today's work. This could be prototype 1.
I'll tell the government right now, tell you right now if you're listening, NSA, CIA, I'm available, okay? If you show me all the real wreckage, I swear to God, I will make fun of that crap to the end of time. I'll make up stories. I'll lie to my mother. I don't care. You show me a UFO, I'll lie to my mother. I swear to God, I will make fun of that crap to the end of time. I'll make up stories. I'll lie to my mother. I don't care. You show me a UFO, I'll lie to my mother.